Hello and welcome to the Orlando World Sunday Showdown round of 64. Today's episode is the last in the round of 64, where we complete the table for the next round, the round of 32, coming in the next couple of weeks. This week the final two attractions, Mickey's Philharmagic and Expedition Everest, go head to head to the final place in the next round. Let's take a look at both attractions. Mickey's Philharmagic is a 4D theatre attraction located in the Fantasyland area of Magic Kingdom. It replaced the large puppet show, The Legend of the Lion King, when it opened on the 3rd of October 2003. The show, despite its name, strangely doesn't star Mickey Mouse, as its main character is none other than Donald Duck, who tries on the sorcerer's hat, which blows away and Donald tries to get the hat back, and by doing so, find himself revisiting scenes from classic movies. The show is a modern take on the Fantasia movies, with similar music and style of animation, which draws the audience into a familiar world for an enjoyable theatre animation experience. Expedition Everest, Legend of the Forbidden Mountain, its full name, is Disney's 18th mountain-themed attraction at any worldwide park. It's located within the Asia continent area of Animal Kingdom. The ride began offering a stunning backdrop within the land when it opened on the 26th of January 2006. It was the most expensive roller coaster ever built at the time, costing $100 million, before Hagrid's Magical Creatures motorbike adventure smashed that record to the tune of $300 million in 2019. Travelling around a 4,424-foot track, seemingly under threat by the Yeti, the trains hurtle around in both forward and reverse motions, at speeds of up to 15 miles per hour, after reaching the top of the 199.5-foot mountain, the highest artificial mountain in the world. The ride is fun, and offers a unique thrill in a relatively quick ride, which is similar to the likes of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad in terms of thrill level. Now let's head through the usual series of 5 head-to-head rounds, to see which of these two attractions will grab the final place in the round of 32. Here we go. Mickey's Philharmagic is a 4D attraction, where surprisingly Mickey Mouse doesn't feature as the main character. That honour is left to Donald Duck, who, according to the theme of the story, is backstage asleep right before Mickey Mouse's performance with the Philharmagic Orchestra is due to start. Mickey asks Donald to set up the instruments, and tells Donald not to touch the sorcerer's hat, and leaves the stage area. Donald, though, while unpacking the instruments, tries on the hat, only for the instruments to magically come to life. In a throwback to Fantasia, Donald then is transported through a whirlwind of music, and finds himself in the centre of some of Disney's most iconic movies. The theme is excellent, and the 4D relay is exceptional, all displayed within an elegant theatre backdrop, on a 150-foot wide 3D screen, the largest of its kind ever built. This creates a great family experience, along with the special effects of additional sounds, smells, water, all working in sync with what is playing out on screen. Expedition Everest is themed to a fictional travel agency called Himalayan Escapes, where you begin your quest starting at the offices for the travel agency. Here you see various expedition items and then progress into holy temples and rooms of past expeditions with a lot of equipment and an exhibition of over 8,000 artifacts from each quest. The ride itself is themed to a Himalayan village known as Circazon, where you begin your quest at the bottom of Mount Everest Base Camp. The coaster winds its way up and around the treacherous mountain range, passing through the destroyed temple ruins, with warning to turn back, to avoid the monstrous Yeti. The more than 4,000-foot coaster then reaches a screeching halt at a point near the top of the mountain, where the track has been ravished by the Yeti, and the trains come tediously close to the edge of the cliff face. The trains roll back, and from here, the Yeti begins his pursuit in hunting you down. The effects are good, and are installed well in the ride, with clever use at certain points to distract you from the track switchovers. The mountain is designed very well, and the track layout is fun, and a bit unpredictable on the reverse sections, heightening the intensity a few notches. Both attractions have some excellent theming, and a fairly good backstory or plot, which do enough to entertain you through the attractions, but for round 1, Expedition Everest just sneaks the first point, purely for offering more in the way of physical theming for the attraction, which is one of the most eye-catching features at Disney Animal Kingdom. Let's head on now to round 2. Located inside what is not well known as the Fantasyland Concert Hall, Mickey's Philharmagic draws in fairly decent crowds on a few occasions each hour. Each show was presented inside a fairly small theatre which is made to look deceptively much larger in scale, with the giant screen at the front. The show cycled through around 3 shows every hour, with a capacity for around 1,500 guests per hour being able to visit the attraction, which for a theatre show is fairly standard for a Disney show. Expedition Everest is a Vekoma coaster, which uses 5 trains, up to a maximum of 6 in operation at any one time, with each train pulling 6 cars. Riders are arranged 2 across in 3 rows with the exception of the last car which has only 2 rows for a total of 34 riders per train. The average maximum capacity per hour for Expedition Everest is 1,800 riders per hour, but with the increase to full train capacity if needed, it can go up to 2,050 per hour including the queue segments. For a coaster ride, the capacity is good, particularly for a coaster that relies on a lot of track switching. So at the end of round 2, again the Animal Kingdom attraction comes out ahead, taking a commanding 2-point lead going into round 3. Mickey's Philharmagic is a delightful 4D theatre attraction, which is surprisingly very good in its use of both the 3D and 4D aspects. The show is mostly presented in 3D, but does offer a fair range of 4D throughout, which does take the strain off the eyes for the most part, as 3D and 4D can often become quite disorienting for people after a short period of time. Luckily though, the attraction is fairly paced and balanced well, and clocks in at around 12 minutes on average for duration, which is long enough to give you a decent story to follow, but short enough for those who may struggle a little with the 4D enhancements. Being a roller coaster ride, for duration, Expedition Everest is actually a little bit longer than many other coasters on average. The fact that it has a decent track length adds to this, but the style of coaster, being more of an experience, as you hunt for the Yeti while on a steady climb upwards, compared more to the likes of Splash Mountain and Big Thunder Mountain Railroad for pace at the start. With pace changing on the downward roll back to the station, it picks up tremendous pace, offering a good balance for its ride time, which clocks in at 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So at the end of round 3, the Fantasyland attraction manages to entertain guests for much longer, so it claims a point back going into the penultimate round. Let's move on now to round 4. Mickey's Philharmagic is an incredibly popular show, so much so that its popularity since it replaced The Legend of the Lion King, the large-scale puppet theatre show in 2003, it has been recreated at other parks around the world, including Tokyo, Hong Kong, Paris, and Disney California Adventure Parks. The show has spanned an incredible 17-year run at Magic Kingdom, and shows no signs of slowing down just yet, with many of the other versions only recently opening in the last few years. The show was designed with the future in mind, so much so that it was one of only a few Disney projects where various Disney groups co-produced the attraction, with heavy influences from Walt Disney Imagineering and Walt Disney Studios, the same teams which collaborated on the Fantasmic show at Hollywood Studios. Mostly, the show is fun-filled 12 minutes of cinema magic, giving guests a much-needed break from the busy parks, often giving a reprieve from the hot or inclement weather, and giving younger guests a show which offers something different to the wild rides in the park. Expedition Everest is often seen as one of Disney's most valuable attractions, being one of the mountain-themed rides, although not having the word mountain in the name. For over 14 years it has enjoyed being one of Disney's most popular rides. Given that it was one of the first real thrill rides located at Animal Kingdom, it often has lengthy wait times. The coaster has featured on several awards lists, and is currently the highest roller coaster attraction at Disney World. Expedition Everest is a clever attraction which is themed so well that it draws you into that world fairly easily, and given the sheer scale of the ride, it makes it much more believable, and takes the immersion level to new levels for a themed roller coaster. So in round 4, for popularity, both are incredibly popular attractions. However, taking the point only just narrowly is the track ride at Animal Kingdom. It offers a really good ride, and the added pre-ride features are interesting. Although the 4D film attraction is just as special, it just isn't as enjoyable. Let's move on now to the 5th and final round. For thrill factor, Mickey's Philharmagic offers very little. But what it lacks in thrill factor, it certainly gains in enjoyment factor. It's a tame 4D cinema presentation which offers a few pop-out moments, but while it will offer an enjoyable, pleasant feature film, has certainly appealed to younger guests and adults alike, it just doesn't offer that big thrill that many guests look for. However, the theme is great, the story is delightful, and it really does offer a lot of nostalgia in the form of a fantastic throwback, and journey through some of Disney's most beloved films. Expedition Everest, though, like many of the Disney coasters, are geared for families, but the odd track ride being for the slightly more adventurous riders. This attraction offers a decent thrill, being a dual-directional coaster. It offers a ride similar to Splash Mountain in terms of pace to begin with, but picks up to the levels seen at Thunder Mountain and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, with the added elements of the dead-end near drop, and the reverse sections being chased by the Yeti, which increases the thrill factor a little. It's not the most intense ride by any means, but it does enough to offer riders a fun, thrilling ride with an element of unpredictability, which by Disney standards for one of the mountain-themed rides makes it one of the better track rides at Disney World. So in the 5th and final round, Expedition Everest takes the point, for being just a better overall fun attraction. So that means this week we have a clear 4 points to 1 winner. Regrettably, it does mean that the 4D theatre show doesn't quite have enough magic to see it through to the next round. However, this show is arguably Disney World's best theatre show, which is worthy of its place at Magic Kingdom, and will be enjoyed by many guests for years to come. Expedition Everest advances to the next round. Join us next week for a slightly different edition of Sunday Showdown, where we take a brief look back at the winners and losers from the round of 64 in next week's round of 64 recap and look at which attractions have won their place in the round of 32. See you next week. We hope you enjoy this video. Please support us by subscribing to our channel. You can find us on social media platforms. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at Orlando Worlds, and on Instagram at The Orlando Worlds. Thanks for watching.